What is that crap music that you're subjecting me to? We need to get the guys that control that bit the right tune.
Oh, I'm enjoying the music. I'm over here dancing. I don't know what your problem is.
People don't come to this podcast to dance. Hi, everybody. It's Kevin VanOrd. I am the host of GameSpot GamePlay, and you are here to watch us talk about games, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So, first of all, thank you for joining in, and let me introduce you to the fine individuals that have joined me in the studio today. Let's go out of order this time, go in a different direction. Let's start with Justin Haywald.
I like that you said that you're going to watch us talk about games, not listen to us, just watch us.
Well, you might if you're watching on
I'd recommend
video.
putting all of this on mute and just watching us.
Well, you might just be listening through audio, but nevertheless, Justin Haywald is here. And being a smartass, as always. Sean McInnes, thank you for being here.
Hey, Kevin. Remember when you said that nobody comes on this podcast to dance?
Right.
Well, there's something I should probably tell you. It's been kind of, it's a secret that I've been keeping for a while now. That's literally the only reason I come on this podcast. I have a demon inside me, and it's called dance, and I just got to let it out, you know?
Well,
so,
as the great Tom McShay once told us, dancing is just movement to a beat. And I got to say, you've got that part down pat.
Thanks, Kevin.
Carolyn Pettit.
Hello. Hi. You're right to my left.
I am to your left.
But I'm going to look over here into the camera anyway and say hi.
Hi, Caro.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, Caro?
I'm good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad we had this talk.
Good, we got that out of the way. So we have some stuff to talk about today, so I figure maybe we should just get into it. We'll start with round one, which is our only round this week, but round one is current buzz. So, Carol, you'll be happy to know that. It is your favorite round.
Well, no, it's just that I love it when we start. I've established this before. I don't have a favorite round. I like it when we start with round one.
It's Carol's favorite round.
Carol's
favorite round.
If Carol's a fan of anything in this cruel world, it's numerical sequences.
Exactly. I just love the order, the sense of order that comes from knowing that we're starting with round one.
What about starting from round 3 and working down? That way I know when it's going to end. This can go on forever.
That idea makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know who else has been uncomfortable lately? Justin, you're going to tell us all about this. Peter Molyneux seems to be pretty uncomfortable now that he's been forced to look back on Fable 3. What did Peter Molyneux say about Fable 3 recently?
So he specifically, he's looking back from a position of comfort because he is no longer with Lionhead. And I don't know if you ever read, or listeners, if you ever listened to any of the interviews that he did in the years leading up to his leaving Lionhead, but he was always very candid. And off the record, he was very, very open about not really enjoying the direction that Microsoft was leading him and his company in, even though he was also very willing to stretch the truth, maybe to lie, in order to make people more interested in games.
I think we can go so far as to use the word lie for some of the things he may have said about games like Fable.
Like, he had a really funny story when he was first introducing Fable, and he was like, I was looking out at the faces of the press, and they looked bored, so I just started making up things. And that's how, like, and there, there'll be a tree and it grows into you plant a seed and it grows into a tree, and all of my developers on the back end were like, I hate you, Peter Molyneux. But he recently came out and said, Spitlight, and looking at the article, I think Fable 3 was a train wreck. It was built to be much bigger than what it was constrained to be, and eventually ended up as. Molyneux said, if I had the time again, I'd take the advances we made from Fable 1 to Fable 2, I'd make the same advances from Fable 2 to Fable 3, and spend another entire year working on Fable 3, because, when you're given a game to do, they just want to keep giving you more and more time, because that always works out well.
So I want to bring something up real quick. It's a little off topic, but I want to bring up this idea that I have of GameSpot Gameplay being somewhat of a quiz show. When you have all the answers right in front of you, Justin Haywald, you brought your laptop.
We were told to bring our laptops so that we could monitor the Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think that's what Justin Haywald did just now.
Oh, no, he looked up the news story.
He was monitoring the answer to the quiz question.
Do you want to...
What's the quiz? There was a quiz?
Justin doesn't know very much about our show. We'll have to clue him in later. This is a quiz show. You're getting points.
Oh, then
Justin just got all the points.
I give you -1 point for that answer, even though it was correct.
He should be banned from the show for 1 year.
I'm pretty sure he should be banned. Should
you
be banned, Justin? What do you have to say about this?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Justin agrees. He will not be back on GameSpot Gameplay except except after today.
Oh no!
No, none of that.
Shooting
None of
the
that.
bird.
We can't do any of that.
He
That
just
was not
shot the
shown.
bird. He shot the bird.
But yes, so Peter Molyneux. So are you still doing that? Have you met Peter Molyneux? Curiously,
I have. I think he is a wonderful man. He's very fun to interview, and I like talking with him. His recent projects, less than excited about.
Yeah,
I mean,
such
so
as
22 Cans was a little bit less than enthralling. I don't know if you played the.
they did the
Tap the
tappy
block.
tappy thing,
Goddess.
right?
And the
Oh, yeah.
winner of
Well,
that,
and Goddess,
the wonderful prize.
22 Cans is the name of a studio. Goddess is the name of the game.
right?
No, what was the can game? What was that?
22
That was,
Cans is not a game. That's the name of the
No,
studio.
22 Cans is the studio. The tapping one was the
What's in the
Number-
box? Oh,
what's
the
in
name
the
of
bo-
it.
What-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Curiosity.
Curiosity. Thank
right.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's in the cube? Maybe?
What curiosity? What's
The Curiosity
in
Cube.
What killed the cube?
What? Yeah.
The cat that killed
Yeah.
the cube. Oh, that was.
I tapped
not-
it. I tapped it a little bit.
Did you pay to put blocks back on?
No.
Because that was something that they added on later. Is like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
oh, if you want, you can be a dick and try to make the box bigger and make it take longer. And then the guy at the end won the ability to be a god in Goddess. Goddess.
Got
So
it.
so basically, he made other people play his game so that they could go on then to do his work for him later.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much how it comes down? Is that how you interpret
No,
the
no.
circumstance?
I was just kind of bored by it. Like it was just it seemed like such an insidious thing to do to have all these ideas. I'm like, I'm the guy who makes Fable 3 and all these wonderful experiences and this open world, and like there's gonna be a really amazing thing when you open this box, and it's that you get to be a part of this next game, and only one person gets it, and it's really not that really cool.
He did. I interviewed Peter Molyneux at Gamescom, and he did actually tell me that there was an ulterior motive to Curiosity, which is they were testing the network architecture of that type of game so that they could apply it to Goddess, because at the time the plan for Goddess was to have every single player existing on the same server shard, and so eventually, if you spread your civilization far out enough, you would run into, conceivably, every player in the world. So they wanted to have that kind of like simultaneous interaction. That's what he told me, at least. But then again, Peter Molyneux has been known.
He's
to
like
tell
the
a
doctor.
tale.
He lies.
It's for
Am
our
I
own
the
good.
only Doctor Who
It's
fan?
for our own good.
Yeah.
He lies to make the world a better place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is a greater good thing, right? We're all better off not knowing all of the truth. Otherwise, we couldn't handle it.
The doctor lies.
Yeah, pretty much.
To keep us safe.
Pretty much. So, has anybody played Goddess? Does anybody even know how it goes?
I played Goddess.
What do you think of it?
I think it was charming. I mean, I didn't get super into it because it was, when I tried it, it was an early alpha and there wasn't a whole lot to it. But it's still, I think it's still one of the Steam early access games. It hasn't gone
It
like
is.
full release. So
It is.
it's one of those games where I've been meaning to get back into it because I did have like a good bit of fun with it when I first tried it out. Yeah.
You say a boot.
A boot,
A boot.
Are you Canadian?
a good bit of fun.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. By the way, if you're watching and listening live on Twitch, feel free to mention anything you wish. Ask us any questions. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer them or get them to the right people. Or if you just have something interesting to say, maybe I'll parrot it so that everybody else can hear it too. But in the meanwhile, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with Peter Molyneux. But Sean, you played Fable 3.
I did play
right?
Fable
Did you
3,
play
yeah.
it to the end?
Yeah,
okay.
I completed the game.
Because I never
You
finished it.
can-
I didn't like it. and I
You
didn't
can
wanna
tell
finish
that game,
It was a little rushed at the end.
You can tell. Oh yeah, you can tell that game. They had to rush to complete it because there were some interesting ideas in the first half of the game, and then once the whole thrust of Fable 3 is that you are becoming the king. You're assuming a role of power in this kingdom, but once you actually become king, about halfway through the game, all the choices that you make are very tedious and inconsequential. At least that's how they feel, even though they're kind of couched as these grand world-changing things. And you don't feel like they have much of an impact on the world that you're playing in. So I kind of feel like the initial scope of that game was much larger than what they were able to create.
And it had this horrible fuck you moment at the end, because it was like, you have a year to be king, and so all of the gold that you put into this and the choices that you make are going to be very important. Then it's like you go to that quest the next time, it's like 100 days have passed. You're like, okay, this makes sense. I bet it's going to get lower. And the next time it's like, you have 70 more days left. You're like, all right, I have 70 days. I'm going to turn my kingdom around, pay off all my debts. And then you go back the next time, you're like, all right, you're out of time.
Whoops. And now the game's over. Yeah, that whole part of the game just felt very, I don't know, rushed and half-baked, and like there was an idea there, and you could kind of sense what that idea was, but the way it was actually executed was very disappointing.
Right. So a few people wanting to know about my hat. So Eminent Stranger asked me if this is the only hat I have, and the answer is no, it's not the only hat I have. I actually have 7 hats, and they're all identical to this hat. So you don't actually know which of the hats I'm wearing. You might be able to pick up on some visual cues. There are such slight differences that maybe you'll be able to number them and tell which of them that I'm actually using at any given time.
Is that really, really true?
No, it's not actually true. I will tell you a story about the hat before I move on to the next segment, though, if you want.
I do want a story about your hat.
So the first hat that I had, that's like this. So I bought it at Target, and
hell yeah, Target.
Now that we have it in the city, we have 2 Targets in the city now where we used to have none. So I bought this hat, not this particular hat. I bought the copy of this hat, the first version, at Target, and unbeknownst to me at some point during the day, a bird had pooped on my hat. But I didn't know.
Want to do.
Yeah, they do that from time to time.
Is it still considered good luck when it's on your hat and not the rest of you? Because some people consider getting pooped on by a bird to be good luck.
Who people?
I don't know. I've just heard that.
You've heard that from where? Where were
Maniacs. I don't know. Maybe I'm hanging out with the wrong crowd.
I think that's just a way to try to cope with something terrible that's happened.
I think, you know what?
Trying to convince yourself that something good is going to come out of it.
Actually, Peter Molyneux told me that. He might have been lying.
Was he also covered in bird poop?
He was literally drenched in shit. So that's probably.
But was he at the same time claiming he was not drenched in shit?
He told me that if he planted that shit in the ground, it would grow into a shit tree.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened, but I didn't know. I was walking around. It's like one of those things where your fly might be down and nobody bothers to tell you, but you wish you knew so you could change the situation immediately. So eventually Justin Calvert came to me and said, do you know that it seems as though a bird has pooped on your head? And so I took off my hat, and indeed, a bird had pooped on my head, so I bought a replacement hat. But I still have the old hat.
Is it still covered in shit?
Yes.
It's disgusting.
Yes.
What I want to point out that's especially funny about your hat, Kevin, is that you have a Guinness hat.
It's true.
I've seen you drink alcohol about as many times as I can count on one hand.
Okay, that's true. I'm not much of a drinker. I'm not a teetotaler. Tom is a teetotaler. He avoids alcohol completely. I don't avoid alcohol completely, but I'm not a drinker. But the reason I wear this hat is very simple. I have a weird. Okay, so first of all, there's the reason. I
have a weird. You have a weird.
I have a weird.
End of conversation. On to the next
number
topic.
One, first of all, this is a problem. All right, so just the very nature of why I wear a hat.
What's wrong with you?
I don't really like the head. So it reflects a lot of light. It has injured people.
Your head has injured people.
My head, the light shining from my head has actually hurt people's corneas. And so I tend to wear a hat because I don't like the baldness bit. But
Patrick Stewart, though, he rocks it.
Yeah, he rocks it, but I can't rock it because if I were to shave all of my hair, I don't think that what my head looks like underneath the hair that's left actually looks all that good. All right? So that's the reason I wear a hat.
What if you grew your beard out so long that you could comb it up and over your head?
I've considered this, but
like it will
take years until that time I
You should really give it a shot. I think it would look distinguished and not at all stupid.
Okay, I'll give it a try. I've been known to grow out my beard for longer than most gentlemen probably should. But then the reason why this hat in particular is because I like this kind of hat, this shape of hat, a baseball cap.
Baseball cap?
But it's harder to find baseball caps nowadays that are sort of like this cloth, older style baseball cap.
I couldn't be more thrilled about the amount of time we have spent talking about Kevin's hat.
Mm-hmm. This has been a fascinating story.
It is fascinating. You know what? Shut up, all of you. People in the Twitch chat are enthralled.
If they're enjoying it, who am I to try to put a stop to this train of thought?
Let's talk about something else momentarily before we get back to this
before
week's topic, which was
listeners.
Kevin's hat.
Yeah.
So let's go. South Park game comes out next week. And
Certainly does.
that is South Park: The Stick of Truth. One thing you should do is I have an excellent article that took me weeks to come up with on the site now called the episodes you should watch before playing Stick of Truth. But seriously, in actuality, this game, which I played and am reviewing, has references in it that go back to certain episodes. And, some episodes are better than others to watch to prepare, in other words. So go watch those episodes. That's on the site at GameSpot.com. So click there, read that list. I think it'll help you get in the right mood. But so since the South Park game is coming up, I thought this week's audio quiz would be somewhat related. I didn't get as many of these on a list as I wanted to because I was running out of time. But this week's audio quiz is audio from games that are based on animated shows.
Oh,
But there are only 4, so this will be a free for all for the 3 of you.
yeah, free for all.
So go ahead and stick on your headphones. And this is not just music. This is actually, in one case it's just music, and the rest it is actual gameplay from the game. So Benito's over there, hopefully monitoring this properly. And go ahead and play the first clip. Why don't you?
I want some more.
My dad's a lawyer.
Oh, what is that? It's that Smash Brothers knockoff, the Cartoon Network Smash Brothers knockoff.
My boyfriend is
I-
That's actually
No,
not right.
That's not right. Okay.
my cute phone covers an extension.
I'm angry, but not because I'm gay.
Game over. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. What is it?
Are we up to 9? Are we up to the time limit yet? Because I figured I'll just let it.
Family Guy Multiverse.
It is Family Guy Multiverse.
As said in the
Yeah,
Twitch
that's
chat.
as you could tell when Peter started talking. Finally, yeah, that is Family Guy Back to the Multiverse.
Well then.
A classic by all accounts.
I did not recognize any of those voices until Peter at the very end.
Well, that's why I chose it. I wanted to be careful not to just give it away right at the beginning. Give people a chance to actually show a little bit of.
I think the first person in the chat room to get that, and I might be wrong, but I think it's Sledderer. Sledderer, congratulations. He was the first in the chat.
Good job. Yeah, good job, Sledderer. And
Sledderer.
Skillbrat got it. A few other people got it. So yeah, let's go ahead and try
Let's try another.
the next one. Yeah, give it a try.
I want to redeem myself.
Caro recognizes the
Is
sounds.
this Popeye?
It is Popeye.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
That is the Popeye arcade game.
Yep, there it is. Gotta win olive oils. You'd love, collect those hearts, get that spinach.
And then, of course, the big power mode.
Yeah, you
rage
get the
mode is basically.
spinach and then you have to avoid Bluto except when you're powered up, and then you can
Totally.
clobber him.
Totally. All right, let's try the next one, Benito. See if anybody can guess this one. Oh, he's getting there.
Simpsons Road Rage.
Why? Yes, Hit and Run. It's
Oh,
Simpsons
Hit and Run. Right,
But yeah,
right.
you got the right thing.
That's yeah.
I would
And
give that to
yeah.
Kara.
Yeah, definitely Caro. Caro knew it. Just a little bit
Wrong title.
wrong title, but she knew it.
Yeah.
But I'll give you credit either if you can tell what the show is or what
Well,
the
the-
game is. So
Okay.
you don't need to get the exact title.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that game. I thought it was.
It was fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Crazy Taxi
was like-
with Simpsons.
No, it was more
More GTA.
GTA
Oh, I'm
with
thinking of the other
Simpsons.
one. Wasn't there a Simpsons game that was more
There
Crazy
were
Taxi?
there were 2 Simpsons driving games. Yeah. Or,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
thinking of the other one. Then sorry about that.
It's okay.
Good job. And the last one this is the theme music only, so this is why it's worth 5 points. This is actually the menu music.
Futurama.
It is Futurama.
Yeah.
We'll just enjoy the music for
I
a
did
moment.
not know that was a
think.
video game.
There was a Futurama video game. Actually, when I was researching this, I discovered there were a lot of different games I'd never heard of. I mean, I expected the sort of, cheap-sounding SpongeBob games and Fairly Odd Parents games and things like that. But there were a few that I didn't expect. There was an older Family Guy game that I didn't know existed, and a
I
bunch
was
of
really
other
holding out
things.
for Dora the Explorer.
I chose not to do that because I didn't think anybody would actually guess Dora the Explorer. Who is anybody a Dora the Explorer expert in this room?
Oh yeah, like creepily into Dora the Explorer. Yeah. I've been kicked off of message boards, let me just say. Restraining orders have been filed, so don't worry about that.
Oh, goody.
Might get my Dora backpack.
Yeah, he's got a backpack.
Yeah,
it's
you
full
do.
of candy. He keeps it in his white van. That's all you need to know about Justin Haywald.
There are no windows on that van.
No, none.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's better for doing crimes in.
So, Caro,
Yeah, hi, Kevin.
you don't have a van that you do crimes in.
No, weirdly, I don't.
I was intrigued by a story that popped up today
Uh-huh.
on GameSpots.coms.
Okay.
And
I'm
it
not
was
familiar with that site.
it was about
Videogames.com.
Atlas PR manager John Harden had something to say about the possibility of a sequel to one of their games. Do you know which one I might be talking about?
I think I do. Let me break it down for you, Kevin. A few years ago, a game came out called Demon Souls, right? Then there was a game that came out called Dark Souls, which is sort of like seen by some. So you could sort of almost argue that it's like a sequel to Demon Souls. But now we have a game called Dark Souls 2, but we're not getting a game called Demon Souls 2. That was the statement that he made. Is that not?
It would have been funny if they put out Demon Souls 4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true. But more or less, you're right there.
Am I sort of on?
Yeah,
in the
you're
right
exactly
ballpark?
right. You're
Okay.
exactly right. So Atlas came out there, and this has actually been going around for a while. People keep trying to drop me hints that there might be a Demon Souls 2 coming.
Like, how
and
would
I don't
that-
know where that comes from, but every so often I'll get an email or I'll get a tweet or somebody will say, "There's no way there's not going to be a Demon Souls 2."
I mean, that just seems redundant to me with the existence of
Dark Souls. What would a Demon
Like,
Souls
how would
2
that-
be like?
Yeah, how would
if
that
it
differentiate
weren't just
itself?
Dark Souls, right?
Exactly.
So, and in which case you'd have to completely change direction, and then you wouldn't even be Demon Souls anymore. So Atlas has come right out and said, "Oh, there's no chance in hell," essentially. Although they did update their statement because, of course, Atlas doesn't own the Demon Souls IP. Sony owns the Demon Souls IP.
Sony owns it.
So in theory, Sony could use that IP for something for a Demon Souls 2, but chances of Atlas actually being involved with that is fairly nil. Although I can see it now, Demon Souls, mobile games, Candy Crush Demon Souls,
Yeah.
and so on
Demon
and so
Souls
forth.
Tower Defense.
Yeah. Well, that's not so weird of an idea now that I see that there's a Plants vs. Zombie type game with Warhammer in it, which I didn't know existed until the other day. It's called Lane Strategy Game.
I literally just got a breaking news update. The Twitch stream that is playing Pokemon. They just beat the Elite Four.
Wow, that's really exciting. So does this mean that Twitch versus Pokemon comes to a close?
Well,
They
they still have to get Mewtwo. There are lots of Pokemon left to catch.
There's lots
more
of
to
left.
do.
Okay, so for those that don't know what this thing is, this Twitch versus Pokemon thing is,
Well,
Twitch plays Pokemon.
Twitch plays Pokemon, right? I'm so sorry. I've not really been focused on this particular story or this particular social experiment. But Justin, you seem like a guy that's sometimes smart.
No.
Okay.
I'm never smart.
Okay. Well, in any case, why don't you break down this phenomenon and explain what it is, what people are doing, and what you think makes it intriguing? Or have we already talked about this? This was last week when Tom was in charge, wasn't it?
Didn't we talk about that last week? I don't know.
Did we?
Yeah, I
Maybe
have
we
no
should just
memory.
move on because
Yeah.
I didn't host last week, much to my chagrin. I actually was too busy and asked Tom to take over. But that's great news. That is great news.
Yeah, we should probably have a lot more people coming over to this stream now because now that they're done watching.
Oh
that
yeah,
happen,
I'm sure it'll be a flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've gone up by 5 viewers.
So, so Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I guess we should get back to Demon Souls and Dark Souls. So that's
Sure.
not necessarily big news,
No,
right?
I mean,
but I
that-
mean, we sort of guessed that, even though I kept getting these weird messages regardless. So we do know, however, that Dark Souls 2 is coming out not next week, but the week after. So what do we know about Dark Souls 2, and what do we want from Dark Souls 2?
Zelda mod.
A Zelda mod, so that everything just turns into Zelda characters.
Yeah, so that like
but-
you're Link and you fight Octoroks and but in a Dark Souls world and setting.
Justin, that
Wow.
sounds dumb.
All
Carol,
right.
You're dumb, idiot, stupid head.
I want it to be hard. I like it. I like how those games are hard. I mean, the thing is, for me, Dark Souls, it was so outstanding that I'm totally at a loss as to how you kind of improve on that. So you asked me what I want from Dark Souls 2. I don't know. I mean, it has to be something that I'm not expecting. That game is, if it has to maybe try to find some way to surprise me, or even if it's just more Dark Souls, that's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. But I do hope that it finds some way to challenge my expectations and do things that I'm not quite expecting.
Well, for me, it's interesting because a lot of sometimes I'll use BioShock as a good example of this. So the original BioShock was really special in part because Rapture was at the center, and this is the first time we were ever in a place like Rapture. And Rapture was so special that in some ways, how could BioShock 2 have possibly sort of lived up to that expectation when so much of BioShock's specialness was being in Rapture for the first time, right? And so I sort of expected the same thing with Dark Souls after Demon Souls, which is now that I've done this once, what do you do to make it more interesting? And then they did it.
Yeah, Dark Souls totally did it. I mean, the way that world interlocked with all of its, you'd find gateways to other parts of the map that revealed how everything was connected in these mind-blowing ways. The health system, I think, was much improved on that in Demon Souls. Dark Souls was just a better game.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that there are a lot of people out there that think Demon Souls is the better game.
Yeah.
But I like that we can talk about that because I know few people that would actually say, I mean, you could argue that maybe BioShock 2 is the better game of BioShock, but I don't know many people that would say that BioShock 2 had the same impact on them as BioShock 1. And I would probably say that ultimately Dark Souls, had more impact on me than Demon Souls. So I think that's a really interesting that they did that. I think The Witcher is another one of those series that sort of managed to do something between the first and the second game where I think it's valid to say that you like the first game more, but they're so different enough that they still have their own identities. And I think Dark Souls and Demon Souls did that. So yeah, I don't know. I've started playing, so I do know certain things, but I haven't played enough that I even if I could talk about it, I don't know that I would be able to say anything on this subject that would be meaningful yet because it's so early on. But I will say that the one thing that I want to remain is that feeling. And somebody on Twitter last night described the feeling of playing Dark Souls as dreadgasm. And I think that's probably a rather,
I need to get back into these games. Because I remember when Demon Souls came out, and I thought it was the worst game imaginable. So I was reviews editor at 1UP at the time, and I'd given that to one of our reviewers, and he gave it like an A+. He gave it our highest score. I'm like, I have to try out this game. How can you just give it an A+? And I played it, and I died immediately. And then I kept dying over and over again, and I lost all of my money and stuff. And it's like, to get back to where I need to be, I'm going to have to just grind by killing like a skeleton and then running back. I'm like, this is the stupidest game ever. Why did you give this an A+? You are an idiot. And then GameSpot, you guys gave it Game of the Year that year.
Yeah,
did. And I went back to it, and there was a wiki or something that said, like, if you choose this character, he has like the health restoring ring, and he has a long distance shooty thing. Like, it makes the game much better than if you chose like the warrior who's just brunt force running through stuff. Yeah. And I enjoyed it much, much, much more once I did that.
Yeah, it's funny because I first started playing Demon Souls by importing it. The Chinese version of Demon Souls was actually in full English. It had all the same voice acting. It didn't have the translation in the text wasn't always great, and so you would find some really funny kind of English translations in the messages that were left behind and so on and so forth. And that was cleaned up, but ultimately it was the same game. That came to North America with all the same voice acting and everything as from the Chinese version, which is really interesting. But
where did they find the Chinese actors who?
Well, they weren't Chinese actors. They were all like
I was just
English speaking. Oh, okay.
I'm not serious.
Was that supposed to be funny?
It was supposed to be.
Was that supposed to be funny?
Yes.
Was this funny?
Where's the sound thing for a bomb falling? I've got it here somewhere. I won't press it, but I just want you to know they are available. Maybe we'll crowdsource these to the Twitch chat.
No, don't. Yeah. Oh, the Twitch plays the soundboard.
Oh yeah, Twitch plays soundboard. Twitch plays red and green sound machines. Do you guys want the one that looks like a poop or the one that looks like a shotgun?
Both at the same time.
I won't do that.
No? Oh, damn it.
I could do that.
Okay, do it.
Wait, hold on.
Do it. I'm ready.
Wait.
Do it. There we go.
Wait.
I have an image of exactly what happened.
Yep, somebody shot a poop that fell out of the sky.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So yeah, Dark Souls 2 coming out soon. Very exciting. We should probably... I have a Dark Souls / Demon Souls quiz, actually.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, what a coincidence.
So this, since we're over at Caro, this is going to be your quiz, Caro.
My quiz.
Because it's an either or
Okay.
quiz, so
Yeah.
it's either one or the other. So I'm gonna quote to you. I'm gonna read a line to you, and that quote will be either from Dark Souls or Demon Souls,
Oh, God.
or it will be from Milton's classic Paradise Lost.
Okay.
So you have to tell me whether it's a Souls game or whether it's
Sure.
Paradise Lost.
Okay. Sounds good.
So here we go. The beings who possess these souls have outlived their usefulness or chosen the path of the wicked. Let there be no guilt. Let there be no vacillation.
Man. It's tough because Dark Souls and Demon Souls certainly like to use the antiquated language to give the writing that.
That's
that
why I was
flavor.
brilliant to choose Milton.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Very
Yeah.
brilliant of you, Kevin.
It was brilliant of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for noting that,
Classic,
Sean.
The
classic
last line
brilliance.
is there is
Classic
no
Kevin
there
right
is
there.
no vacillation.
There is no vacillation.
I'm gonna go with Paradise Lost.
No.
Damn it.
Whoa!
That is Dark Souls,
Plot
actually
twist.
spoken by Kingseeker Frumpt.
Okay.
So,
Classic
yes.
frumped.
Yeah, who would have thought
that
it?
frumped.
Let's try this one. All is not lost, the unconquerable will and study of revenge, immortal hate, and the courage never to submit or yield.
Okay, Paradise Lost.
That is Paradise Lost, yes. Caro knows her literature.
I've actually never read Milton.
Yes, but you're a smart one. So, how about this? Soul of the mind, key to life's ether, soul of the lost, withdrawn from its vessel. Let strength be granted, so the world might
Right.
be mended. Yes,
That's
you already know the answer.
That's
to this.
Demon Souls.
That
right?
is Demon
Yeah,
Souls.
yeah.
Yes, in fact, one of the best, because of course then she goes to repeat it. So the world might be mended.
Yeah.
And she was an incredible character that had very little to say, in my mind. So what, Sean? You have something to add?
No, I've played an hour of both these games.
And you're like, what is?
oh, yeah, that lady.
They're not
So
for you.
No, I've tried to get into them. I haven't fully dedicated the time to them.
They
want to
are
get into
time
these
It
consuming.
is, for me, I think similar to Justin Haywald, like my first experience with them was not overly positive. It didn't pull me in right away. I don't think it was until I was assigned to do the Dark Souls PC review, and I had to kind of get over that hump, of like, okay.
Yeah, you
that-
kind of have that
and
thing
then
forcing
and then
you
there was
along.
just this moment where everything clicked, and it was like, oh, now I get it. This is the best game of all time.
I'm having this weird thing that happens all the time with my laptop, where all of a sudden the touchpad decides that it just isn't going to work properly. So
Oh yeah, that happens.
I can't really read anything right now, so you all should talk amongst yourselves while I try. Now that the page, instead of scrolling down, I've actually changed the zoom level to basically illegible proportions. So why don't you all talk more about Dark Souls while I try to make my laptop work?
So those souls.
How about
Yeah.
them souls? I got so many of them souls.
I recently tried getting into Dark Souls like about a month ago by playing the PC version because I no longer have my 360 or PS3 hooked up.
Sure.
And I was reading all the guides for modifying the PC version because apparently the PC version of Dark Souls is a hot mess.
So this was a sort of controversy around my review of the game because I had a wonderful experience with it. I mean, I understand that it certainly didn't have the texture quality and the bells and whistles that a lot of people expect from a PC port, but ultimately my gameplay experience was still so extraordinary that I felt like I had to give it a 9.5. Because it was still way better than every other game out there.
I'm just trying to give myself like every reason to commit myself to it.
Sure.
And so I feel like if it doesn't look like Vaseline smeared across my computer monitor, it's going to help me that much more.
Oh yeah,
Commit myself to
absolutely.
it. But I couldn't figure out how to do it without having the game crash constantly. So,
Oh well, that's a problem.
yeah.
And as someone who's so dedicated to Spelunky and this masochistic.
Exactly. Like I want to try Dark Souls now that I've like overcome Spelunky, because like that prior to Spelunky, I was kind of a baby when it came to the difficulty in video games. Like I would often, if it's a real story heavy game, like some of the time I would play on easy just to get through the story. And I wasn't really into like really hardcore retro kind of difficulty levels, but Spelunky just kind of clicked for me in a way that other difficult games haven't. And so I kind of feel like that's my gateway to games like Dark Souls and that type of thing. So I really want to try it because I know there's still a few months until the PC version of Dark Souls 2 comes out. So maybe I have time to play the PC version of the original game. So
I'm surprised that
try
you've
it.
also disconnected your PS3 and 360. You've just completely committed to next gen.
Oh yeah, I mean I
gen.
own Xbox One, a PS4, and a Wii U. I don't have room in my living room for the other consoles.
I had unplugged my PS3 when I got my PS4, and it was like, you know, for Left Behind, to play The Last of Us Left Behind, I was like, oh, I have to hook up my PS3 again, you know. But how many times am I going to want to hook up my PS3 again?
I have
For
such
Dark Souls 2.
I have a back catalog of
maybe
games.
for Dark Souls 2. I don't know if I'm going to play the PS3 version.
I
We'll
got
see.
Sorry, just to change the subject back to Spelunky. The guys are
Shocker.
the guys in the chat room. They're asking me how Speedlunky is going. Like this past weekend, I tried live streaming my attempt to get the Speedlunky achievement, which is beat the regular boss in 8 minutes or less, and I was just failing miserably every time I tried doing that. I did a couple streams. Lim, aka, you'll be happy to know that I did get that achievement while playing in the office. Unfortunately, I was not live streaming it, but I got like 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so I did okay.
Yeah.
Did pretty good. I beat Chris Waters' time, so there's that.
Yeah, he sucks at that game.
Yeah, he sucks. He's awful.
So I'm gonna try to do this again now that I like still I'm still having problems. This laptop. I got it for now, but Benito will be over there in case I need you. So back to the is it Souls or is it Milton?
Yes.
We come to this line. It's a simple one. God has ordered it done, and we are his disciples. Souls or John Milton, Paradise Lost?
God has ordered it done.
God has ordered it done, and we are his disciples. And
Paradise Lost.
Demon
Damn
Souls.
it.
Yes. How about this? A song of chaos and eternal night, taught by the heavenly muse to venture down the dark descent, pardon me, and up to reascend. Is
Robert
that
Frost.
Emily Bronte?
Oh God, this is hard.
It is hard.
Or modern poet
John
Robin
Steinbeck.
Thicke.
You're right. A Souls game.
That's Paradise Lost.
Ooh. Ooh.
Two more to go.
Trips
Two
and
more
falls.
to go. I know. If thou so needest, I shalt devote all to thine safety. May thou be one with the sunlight forevermore.
Souls game.
It's Dark Souls,
Yeah.
yes.
Dark Souls.
And finally, with impetuous recoil and jarring sound, the infernal doors and on their hinges great harsh thunder that the lowest bottom shook.
Paradise Lost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Good job.
Thanks.
job.
Thank you.
You got, what, about half of them?
Yeah.
Great work.
It's about
That's about what
the average would be for anybody trying to
anyone
do
just
this.
guessing
Yes.
randomly
Yes.
would get. So good way to go, Caro.
Yeah, good job.
Hey,
It's-
Caro.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that. Wait, hold on. Which one is the?
Which one is the flying poop? We wanna.
No, I wasn't gonna do the flying poop. I was gonna do the applause.
Aw, thanks everybody.
Yay, good job.
I think you have to push it again.
All right.
That ended up. That was a very.
That was a very
applause.
abrupt, yeah, that's 80s studio audience applause.
And cut.
Sean,
Oh no.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
You're great. So you have some fans in the chat, I've noticed. Some asking
No,
if
they're
you're
not
as-
my fans. They're your fans.
Some asking if you're as sexy in person as you are online. And how would you respond to such a question?
No.
No, he's not as sexy.
I smell like
person.
pastrami. I'm actually 972 pounds. It's all
It's just
He just carries it well.
just here
yes.
and lower. It's my legs are like the size of a redwood tree. It's fat. It's just all fat.
Their butt
It's
is
like
just like.
yeah,
Bow.
yeah. I'm a awful pile of garbage. So how are you, Kevin?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, good.
Fine, thank you. I've never noticed this about your smell, although,
Yeah, I smell like
you know.
I was wondering why I was always aroused around.
yeah.
Now I
You
know.
do have that weird pastrami fetish.
So Sean,
Hey, well,
We've-
this one went to a weird place.
yes, it did.
Yeah.
We are familiar with movies based on video games.
Uh-huh.
We've had a Dungeon Siege movie, for example. What else is out there? What movies have been based on video games? Let's run
my
them
God.
down.
Well, there's a new movie coming based on a video game. Is that the one you want me to mention?
Well, eventually, I was hoping to actually get
Oh,
there in a roundabout
movies-
way.
okay.
But if you must go right
You
to
mean
the subject,
you're talking about Need for Speed, right?
Need
well,
for
clearly.
Speed. There was that great Prince of Persia movie
Oh, yeah.
from a couple years ago. Uwe Boll, his
Oh, yeah.
entire oeuvre is just remarkable.
yes.
And
what
now-
has he made? What,
He made the Far Cry
he made
movie.
Far Cry,
Postal,
Postal,
Blood Rain.
Blood
probably
Rain.
a
Was
Blood
a movie.
Rain movie.
Yeah.
Probably a Blood Rain movie. Yeah,
Probably.
there was a Blood Rain movie.
Yeah,
And there, of course, there have been Resident Evil films.
lots of Resident.
There have been
like
multiple
a million
Resident Evil
films. Which
4.
how
maybe?
have they still made so many? Because I feel like
Or is-
none of those movies are huge critical or commercial successes, but they just keep making them.
Internationally, they
Internationally?
do ridiculously well. It
Weird.
doesn't-
I bet they
it
do
makes sense.
really well in random markets like Estonia and Thailand and
Where they have to
Oklahoma.
fight zombies in real life. So
They
these
do,
are like
yeah.
these are cautionary
Wait,
tales.
wait. Did you just say what were the 3 random markets? Estonia, Thailand, and Oklahoma.
What?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, there were Tomb Raider films that were
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
considered maybe a little bit better than the average. There was a Doom
There
film
was a,
that I have
a
watched.
Doom film.
There's some
Yeah.
Silent Hill movies.
There was Silent Hill.
Yeah.
The Silent Hill movie had. Were there more
Sean,
than one?
There's 2 at
There's
least.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 2?
Sean, yeah, and like Sean Bean is in, I think the first one, and Malcolm.
Does he die?
I'm pretty well. It's Sean Bean. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what he gets hired to
Yeah.
die. There's a great YouTube supercut of Sean Bean dying and everything.
Did you know that Sean Bean was his first name is actually spelled like mine? He just changed it to
So
be
it-
more symmetrical. Yeah.
I did not
Is that
know
really
that.
true?
Yeah,
I did not know
I think
that.
that's in his IMDb trivia.
Huh. The problem is that a lot of people mispronounce his name now as Sean Bean. So or Sean
You do that.
Bon.
I think you're the only one who does that.
Yeah. But so yes, there are. Oh, and by the way, the Silent Hill film, which is a bunch of bollocks, but it does have the best scene ever showing off what barbed wire really can do. And I'll just leave it at that. But there has been announced an official movie to go with a very, very popular game, a very popular story-driven game
Yep.
that lends itself to linear storytelling. What
Yep.
would that be?
World of Warcraft.
Banished. no,
I wasn't
wait.
expecting that.
Hold on. Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Minecraft. Yep. So I think it's Warner Brothers acquired the rights to a Minecraft movie. The same studio who brought us the Lego the movie, which kind of gives me a bit more confidence in it because they've proven that they can take what is essentially a blank slate of an entertainment property and make a really fun, charming, whimsical movie out of it. I mean, yes, the Lego games have been around for years and proved, and they have an established track record, but I feel like the Lego movie kind of like it goes above and beyond what those Lego video games have done in terms of humor. Because I don't know, I feel like the Lego video games are a lot more understated and
They're very slapstick heavy.
are they?
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot
Yeah.
of physical humor. It's like, oh, I fell down. I'm a Lego piece. Ah.
But it's a lot more. I don't know, character. I also haven't seen the Lego movie, so I'm talking out of my ass. No, but I mean, a Minecraft movie, it could turn out well. It could turn out terribly, but at least Warner Brothers has proved they can do this kind of thing recently.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think at this point there's a certain tone and a certain kind of thing we expect from Lego. We have a mental picture of what that is. It's had time to become part of pop culture and develop that. But when you think of Minecraft, what is it that lends itself to a movie? What happens in a Minecraft movie? Who does it star? What do they do?
It stars Steve, Minecraft Steve, the default character.
Who's he voiced by?
He is voiced by Daniel Day-Lewis.
Classy
in
choice.
what is perhaps his most riveting performance to date. I don't know. I mean, Minecraft is a huge entertainment property. It's not just video games. You go to Target all the time. You've seen the Minecraft Legos there, right? No?
There's tons of Minecraft merchandise. So,
Minecraft merch is huge. Yeah.
And so people already have associations with these, the cute pigs or what.
Yeah, the pigs, the creepers, the longmen. Yeah.
So I feel like it does. There is totally an opportunity there for creative people to come in and set a, I'm guessing what will end up being a kind of whimsical animated family film sort of thing.
I'm kind of imagining
world.
a Lord of the Rings style, like really realistic set. Like you
live action.
Take care of the pigs. You go down in the mines. And you're like, and his face is all covered in soot. And that's his. And it's like kind of an art movie.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a slice of life film.
That's right.
I think that would do really well.
Justin always going for the lighthearted approach.
I'm heavy-handed is not something that I don't know nothing about.
It's kind of not your thing, is it? Yes. So in the meanwhile, we've all been playing games, and there are games about to come out. Kara, what have you been playing? You played Plants vs. Zombies. You reviewed Plants vs. Zombies for us.
Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Garden Warfare, to be clear, the third-person shooter.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
What's that game like?
Well, it's totally good. It's a game that takes the, I think the tried and true enjoyable mechanics of a lot of competitive multiplayer shooters, and it just takes them out of the grim military or sci-fi context in which they're typically presented these days, and puts them in Plants vs. Zombies context, which really changes the whole feel of the experience, because when you get killed by another player, and you see you're like the kill cam, or like that shows the person who killed you, and it's not like some soldier with a machine gun, but it's a smiling, prancing sunflower, wearing sunglasses. I mean, it just, you want to smile. There's this infectious sense of joy to it. And so for me, I think it's really refreshing as someone who really enjoys the mechanics of shooters, but has maybe gotten a little tired of them always being, presented in the kind of Call of Duty or Battlefield sort of look. To be able to play a game like this with the mechanics that I enjoy, but in which I'm playing as a pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies.
Is the shooting itself satisfying? Does it feel good to actually shoot other things?
Of course. I think that's crucial to it being a good game, because it is a shooter, and the mechanics of the shooting I think are totally satisfying. And on each side you have four different main classes who have their different weapons and abilities. So you've got the cactus on the plant side has like this kind of essentially a sort of sniper attack, a long range, precise attack. So it definitely has that kind of variety and complexity in the mechanics that I think a lot of seasoned shooter players want in a game like this. It just happens to look like a delightful cartoon.
and you wrote an article today talking about the possibility of microtransactions.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
And how that would be perfect.
Well, we all love microtransactions, right? We can't get enough of them. When I asked a producer on the game at an event last week, about microtransactions, so there's no microtransactions in the game at launch. There's none. However, he indicated that they would be looking at player feedback and data to decide, whether or not to implement them or like how to move forward. And to me, the one frustration or, one of the frustrating aspects of the game is the way in which you unlock new characters, which is this very randomized method in which you buy sticker packs and, you can spend 40,000 coins to guarantee that you're going to unlock a character, but you have no control over or influence over which character, which class variant that might be. And so to me, that can be frustrating. You might see other players using the ice P and, and really want to try it out, but you can't. I mean, because unless you get lucky and it's, you spend your 40,000 coins. Oh, I got the engineer variant for the, for the zombies. Okay, well, that's not what I wanted. Play a few more hours, get 40,000 more coins. No, that's not the character that I wanted either. I mean, and yes, the characters you're unlocking are probably somewhat interesting in their own right, but at the same time, it can be frustrating to not have any control over that process. And that seems to me like it might almost be designed as a way for them to at some point introduce microtransactions to say, just give us a couple of bucks and you can totally just unlock whichever character you want, for instance. And
when they say, we're going to look at player feedback, it's like they've already designed the game to piss people off and make them go, well, I want to just unlock this right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're responding to the players' criticisms and we're offering you the ability to just unlock as soon as you want to for $5.
Right.
What?
I mean, obviously that's speculate. I mean, we don't know, but the design seems to sow the seeds of that kind of frustration that would be easily
sow the seeds.
See what I did there?
It'd
be easily alleviated with some microtransaction-y stuff.
Well, Eminent Stranger points out, and I don't know how true this is, but he says that the game was originally designed to be a free-to-play microtransaction chain game, and then that design was changed to be a pay-to-play game. Although being pay-to-play doesn't necessitate that they can't have microtransactions. What you talk about reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, for example, and how you could pay money to unlock things. In this case, pay money to buy sets of random items that you may or may not enjoy to go with your new classes and new skins and things like that.
But it seems like the way they've laid this out, I would almost rather that it was a free-to-play game where I could unlock these things. And because if it's going to be frustrating anyway, why do I want to pay $40 for something that you're probably eventually going to charge me for anyway, in addition to this stuff? Whereas if I could have just played for free and at least tried it out and seen if it's an experience that I want to put my time into, that might feel more worth it.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I would. I mean, because I feel like for your $40, I do feel like the package is a little thin in terms of it could maybe use another mode or two or some more maps. But they have said that they are going to be adding free content to the game. So I feel like for my $40, I get a decent experience. But yeah, I mean, I guess it does seem like maybe the sort of game that would have lent itself to a free-to-play model.
Well, there you have it. EA, if you hadn't considered it already, now Caro thinks your game is good for a free-to-play model. Because that was your point, right? You were suggesting that that's what they should do.
Well, I mean, not now that I've already paid, not now that I've already spent $40 on it. I'm saying like if it had been introduced into the market as a free-to-play game,
it
maybe,
seems like it's ripe for that kind of
maybe that would have been another way for them to go.
Yeah. So other things we've been playing, I played Thief. Obviously, the review. I reviewed it for GameSpots.com's, my favorite website, and it was okay. It's an okay game.
It sounds like when I read your review that it has some pretty low lows, right? I mean, sounds like some of the AI behavior is kind of maybe not it sort of rips you out of the experience at times.
And some really high highs too.
Sure.
when it came up. And that's sort of the weirdness of Thief. And it's interesting too, because a lot of these things are things that you could say have been around for a long time in this series. And other things you could say are newly introduced. And other things I think are just more noticeable now that we've reached the stage where games are a lot more about immersion and we're in places that seem more or less authentic and so on, that all of those old gamey things don't seem quite as natural now that we've created places for them that seem quite natural. So it's an interesting game. There were times where I really loved it and I felt like I was really feeling like a thief and pickpocketing and grabbing things off tables, and other times where I felt like I was simply just sort of exploiting the AI, and the thing that kept annoying me most was just how segmented the world is and how you feel like you're in a world and then it's just constantly pushing you into a loading screen and reminding you again that you're playing a game. Not that loading screens have to be bad, but I have reached the stage where you can't tell me that, especially given how segmented Deus Ex was at the same time. I mean, we have games now, we've had games for a long time like GTA and things like that. There doesn't seem to be any technological reason why they couldn't have made it more open. And I kind of wonder if the need to put the game on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 ended up holding them back. If maybe they could have just gone next gen fully, maybe they could have designed it in a different way. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not a game designer myself, but nobody has anything to add. Everybody's just staring at me sleepily.
I've not played the game.
I'm the only one who's played it.
I've not played it. It does sound like, to me, that sounds like it would be jarring. I mean, the city, you're in the city, which is called the city, and it seems like a vast city, and yet if you're constantly being interrupted by loading screens, I mean, loading screens aren't inherently a hugely bad thing, but if they're frequent, they can absolutely break up the sense of flow and the sense of place, the sense of reality that an environment like that is probably trying to create.
Yeah. Sometimes things really come together, though. It's interesting, though. We've most of us played Deus Ex Human Revolution, at least, maybe?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
That game was great.
Because that game is great, and I think part of what makes that game great is that it has good stealth, and I think it's fascinating that a game that isn't just about stealth, to me, has much more satisfying sneaking than Thief does, a game that's all about stealth.
Yeah.
And part of that is that Deus Ex, the way it does its levels, to me, is very much like, here is a big puzzle, or here is a big trap, and your goal is to navigate this trap without being caught. And Thief doesn't have quite that same kind of vibe or feel. And I think that's part of what keeps it from becoming really satisfying. Because when you're done, I never felt like I never got through it because I was great or incredible. I feel like I got through it because I was able to exploit all the idiosyncrasies to get there. And there's a difference in how rewarding it feels at the end. But that said, I think Thief is actually fairly worthwhile if you know what its weaknesses are, because you can really get those moments where it's like, wow, I just pulled that off, and I'm really excited about that.
I don't know, it just seems like one of those games where, in such a crowded market and with so much going on, I don't feel like I have time to commit to something which is okay, kind of mediocre. There's so many other things. I mean,
it's hard, even when a game's worthwhile, right? Like, even if a game gets, say a game, hey, everybody knows this game is good. The game is good. But if you know there's something incredible that just came out, then why would you choose the thing that's good over the thing that's incredible?
And I'm going to be really busy this weekend playing Professor Layton.
Yeah. But there's also other stuff that, people, we've been talking about in the office. Like, there's the Last of Us DLC, and there is that RPG that everybody won't shut up about.
Defaulting Bravely,
yes.
I love
it. And, lots of other things. And things that are about to come out that there are reasonable expectations that maybe they won't be really that bad. Like Dark Souls 2 and South Park, and Infamous 2 comes out really soon. And what else did I miss that comes out this month? Titanfall. Oops, almost forgot about Titanfall. But I mean, we have a reasonable expectation that these games will probably at least be good.
Good.
That doesn't mean that they will be. They could be disasters for all we know, but we expect that they probably won't be. And so when you have something that's just like Thief, yeah, that's a thing. That's a game I could be playing. Or you have, oh my God, everybody's talking about Bravely Default. It's easy to choose the one that's awesome over the one that's just okay. So what do you do?
You don't play it.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes that thing that's okay could be the thing that really hits you as a person. Like, some of my favorite games are things that I know aren't that great, but ones that are really meaningful. And I remember.
Yeah.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, and I think that's where hopefully an understanding of one's personal tastes coupled with a review that might kind of illuminate what the game is can lead people, I think a lot of readers might think, oh, well, we give it a 6, that means like you shouldn't play it, but that's not the case at all. We try to give games a fair shake and present in our reviews a sense of what those games are and what they do. And
in fact, Tom McShay wrote a feature a couple years ago called "In Defense of the Six."
Six. Yeah.
And I know that I've played and enjoyed some games that fell into the 6 range just because by reading the reviews and so on, I got a sense that okay, this game might be rough around the edges, it might have its problems, but it also sounds like what it's doing well will really appeal to me.
Yeah, and there are some games that I wouldn't say are for, like Deadly Premonition's a great example of a game that I struggled just to back up a 7, I felt, for that game, saying that it's a legitimately good game, even though I think in some ways Deadly Premonition is a must-play experience, but I also recognize it's a somewhat broken, decrepit experience that will probably push some people to throw it in the toilet and flush it. I mean, IGN gave it a 2, to give you an example, but then Jim Sterling gave it a 10. And that's the kind of game where it's like, okay, if you expect polish or you expect fully functional features or whatever, you don't play Deadly Premonition.
Dialogue.
Right. But then you put it aside because there's nothing else like Deadly Premonition. And, by this, I think Deadly Premonition is ultimately a better game, just from most, perspectives than Thief. But still, I think there are people out there that will get a lot out of Thief. And I see people in my Twitter feed saying, wow, I'm enjoying Thief a lot more than I expected to. And that's great because I don't want people to not enjoy a game. Do you?
That's all very fair.
I want everybody to hate video games.
Yeah.
Stop reading about them.
Yeah.
Just
That's
don't
not
even
true.
come to GameSpot.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's that. And of course, I finished South Park
Oh, I want to play that
earlier
too.
this week. I can't say
Review coming next week.
anything about it. A review comes next week, Monday night / Tuesday morning, midnight Pacific. All I can say it really is, okay, so let me quote Trey Parker. All right, Trey Parker said this not so long ago, and I quote, this is a direct quote, "I fucking hope we don't get a 4 on GameSpot. That'll fucking piss me off." So
Wait till they find out what you're giving it.
I can't verify whether or not South Park is going to get a 4, but I will say that it will get a score somewhere between 0 and 11. So hopefully that'll help
make of
narrow
that
it
what you
down.
will.
Make of that what you will. Yeah, so that review will go up at that time. And what else is going on? Caro, you're starting to play some Diablo, I think.
Yep, getting back in. Yeah, now's the perfect time to get back into Diablo 3 now that they just patched it and it's apparently full of game-breaking bugs. So yeah, I'm going to be taking another look at Diablo 3. Obviously, Reaper of Souls, the expansion, is on the horizon. It's coming pretty soon, and so we thought it would be a good time to do an updated review of Diablo 3. The patch does change a lot of the mechanics significantly, the loot system and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with good old Diablo 3 in the next few days.
So a few people in the chat, not to change the subject, although it is to change the subject.
Sure.
Not purposely, I just wanted to react to. So people are saying that they're talking about the whistle theme from Deadly Premonition, and that it shows up occasionally on our own show, House of Horrors. So I thought, can I give you my quick whistling of the,
Please
of the
do.
Deadly Premonition?
Please
theme?
do.
Let's see if I can do it. Okay,
that's it.
It goes on, but I'll stop for now. So there you go. There you go.
Also sounds like the Mario theme.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Justin
Haywald, you're playing Bravely Default. Can we get a? By the way, can we get some?
Also, let me just quickly say.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, Caro.
No. I just want to, since you asked me what I've been playing lately.
Yeah, totally.
Last of Us Left Behind. I played that. It's incredible.
It is very good.
I wrote a thing in my GameSpot blog about it, so I don't know if that's Those aren't super easy to find, maybe, but if you can find it, and I tweeted a link to it yesterday, if you want to read some about why I think that's so extraordinary, it does have some spoilers, but anyway, I think The Last of Us Left Behind is, and Tom McShea has written some great stuff about it, so.
And it's very, like, whether you've played The Last of Us or not, it's worth digging into. It's very short.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about it. Sean has not played it yet.
I haven't played it yet. I want to play it. I have so little free time right now.
Anyway, sorry, so
No worries.
If you drink less.
carry on.
No. Justin Haywald, I know, and I was going to ask this before we went on really, because I know you're playing Bravely Default, but how exactly are we supposed to pronounce this? Because to me, I can pronounce Bravely Default, or I can say Bravely Default. What is the proper pronunciation? Does anybody know?
I say
According to
Bravely
who?
Default.
Yeah,
I
say
think
Bravely
default sounds better, but sometimes I hear Bravely Default, and I was just kind of wondering what people think. Maybe somebody in the chat can say how they pronounce it.
I mean, you're still pronouncing the word the same way. It's just which syllable the emphasis is on. That's entirely up to you, Kevin. That's the beauty of this country.
And our language, our American language.
Our American language.
Our American language, which was born here in America.
Born here in America.
And are you defaulting, like, do you feel when you play it that you're defaulting on alone, or do you default to the greater good, to just the normalcy? And it's really a mindset. When you say it, it's what you feel, and that's how I go with what I feel, man.
Sean.
Hey.
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin. You're playing Bravely Default. What else are you playing?
I just played through the Last of Us. I played threes on my mobile device.
Okay, so explain this game to me, so I know it's kind. It's
Explain
kind of
this
like
boring math game to me.
You know, you have all these threes, and you have to add numbers that are alike together to make double that number, and then those numbers get pushed together, right, to add up to. So like you start with 2 3s and add them together, and it becomes a 6.
Yes.
And then push 2 6s together, and it becomes a 12.
Yes.
And then 12s turn into 24, and so on. So
that is a accurate description.
how
of what
high
you did.
can you go before you can't go any further? What's your highest score?
I'm terrible at the game. So my highest score is like 7,000. Like, there is a set height. I mean, mathematically, there is a certain number that you can reach, and some people have come close to the level cap. Most of my friends list is dominated by people in the 10,000 range. A couple people have just broken out of that, and I'm going to defriend them on Game Center so that I don't have to look at that. I want to be number one. I want to be on top.
Okay.
It's kind of. It's very simple to learn, and there is a lot of luck to it. Like you can't play it and just assume that every run is going to be as good as the last. And it is not 100% skill based, but the more you think about it, like, planning moves ahead works. There is an element of strategy and forethought that can be put into it, and you can have consistently good games. Like right now, I consistently get about 3,000, whereas when I started, I would consistently fail at 500.
So you're getting there.
I'm trying very bad, but I think that's my limit. I think I've plateaued, and it's all downhill from there.
Before we move on to Sean, Jane Alves 10 is asking who's reviewing Dark Souls 2. That is me.
Kevin VanOrd's reviewing Dark Souls 2.
I reviewed Dark Souls mostly. Hero also reviewed Dark Souls on PC.
I did, as
And
mentioned earlier, yeah.
this is one of those great occasions where we actually agree on the quality of that game, which is that it's, well, I think it's the best game of its generation. Tom thinks it's the best game of all time, which is a pretty high praise. And but it's certainly a valid entry if you were to consider best games of all time. Although I would say that if they'd fixed the frame rate, then it would be an easy win for me in that subject. But so yeah, I'm doing Dark Souls 2, and that was the question there. Sean, what are you playing?
I, like our good friend Justin Haywald, am also playing Bravely Default. I've been slowly kind of plugging away at it. I don't have a lot of free time.
What's the last class that you got?
The last class that I got was gosh, what was it? The Merchant, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
So still pretty early in the game.
Yeah, I'm still in chapter 1. I just started playing Peace Walker in preparation for Ground Zeroes, because I've played every Metal Gear Solid game at least twice over, but Peace Walker is that one kind of like glaring hole in my Metal Gear Solid
You're playing
fandom.
HD on the 360 or
No,
on the Vita?
I'm playing. I actually own the HD collection on PS3, but it's just a lot easier for me to play games on handhelds these days. So I'm playing. I actually bought the Vita version foolishly at full price instead of playing the one that I already own. But
still.
I really want to play that game before Ground Zeroes because I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan.
You are, and I thought it would have been curious if you would have pulled out like the PSP to play that, which would have been fun.
Nope.
And
But it's actually great on Vita because the original version of that game, you move around with a little slidey nub thing, but you have to control the camera with the face buttons on the right side. The Vita, you can remap that so that the right analog stick functions as the face buttons, so you can actually move the camera with the analog stick, which is nice.
so there was someone else came up here. What was it I was going to mention? Oh, Atheist Preacher wanted to point out that I misrepresented Tom a little bit. According to Atheist Preacher, Tom does not maintain it's the best game of all time, but it's his favorite game of all time. And there, of course, there is a difference between things that you feel are the best and things that is a favorite. So thanks for pointing that out. I don't want to misrepresent somebody who is not here. So thank you for clearing that up. And I think that brings us to an end of this week's episode of GameSpot Gameplay. I think this was episode number 63.
63.
But that's what it says on my screen, but for some reason I thought it was actually 64 going into the night. So before it gets posted, I'll make sure that it has the proper number on it either way. But thanks to everybody. Let me say thank you to I have to decree a winner, right? So the winner is you. Anybody who's watching, you have won this week. Congratulations. Hurrah.
I was wondering what you did there because you just pointed directly between me and Justin.
Between Justin and Sean.
Well, you were actually pointing at the camera.
You're included in all. So if you watch later, you will be sad. You'll be happy to know that you're a winner too.
Except for me with negative points.
Yeah.
That's you're winner -1.
Yeah.
So but
I'm second place to everybody else.
My winner is Skrillback.
Oh yeah, Skrillback. What did he say?
I don't know. You're
just choosing him from the chat.
I'm just choosing him from the chat for no reason, and he's a winner in my heart and mind.
But in any case, really, we're the winners because we have great readers, great watchers, great listeners, and obviously, we want you to pay attention to what we're doing. Follow us on Twitter at GameSpot, or you can follow us individually as Carol and Michelle, Fiddle Cub, Justin Haywald, and Sean. It's S. McInnes.
McInnes. Yeah.
And you should also subscribe to this podcast. You might be watching it on YouTube or on GameSpot, but you can also use your handy dandy podcast player to listen to the audio version, which goes up on iTunes and through RSS and all the normal places. And you should do that. And let me thank you, Carolyn Pettit, for being here.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Happy to have been here.
Yay. Thank you, Justin Haywald.
Thank you.
Again. And thank you to Sean McInnes.
Thank you, Kevin.
It's always good to have you on board.
My pleasure.
And we did miss Tom this week, but he is having a second honeymoon in Seattle.
Beautiful Seattle, Washington.
Which is where we all go for our second honeymoons. It's
I've been there.
Beautiful and sunny.
He's probably just playing Bravely Default, though.
You know what?
He probably
is. And
he's probably grinding on his honeymoon, if you catch my drift.
No, literally, like just in the
Nailed
game,
it.
and not a sexy way.
So, and of course, thanks to everybody out there for watching GameSpot Gameplay, and we will see you again next week.